Well, welcome to this new series where I will record devlogs while explaining what I am doing. This devlogs will be recorded live, no script, nothing planned. I'll just do what I usually do to my games and explain. And you might notice that this microphone is a bit different than the microphone I usually use. That's because it's another function of the headset I use, and this setup I'm using now is way better for other stuff I can do in those devlogs, like making music, because I'll explain later. But let's begin because I actually recorded a video of this yesterday, but I was really unsatisfied with the result. So, yep. So I'm now trying to make the 5th level of Firewall C, and this level will be a night themed level, will be similar to the grass climber level, the first level, but it will be a night, and there will be new enemies. So to begin with, I'd like to show you this enemy called the bug enemy, which you can't really see it because of the collision, so actually instead of hiding the collisions, which is supposed to be easy, a way easier thing I guess, I'll actually just add the enemy here to the scene so I can actually show its mechanics. So here we go. Let me set the direction of it to -1. Let's go. Okay, so let me try to explain how this enemy works. So when I reach close to it in the direction it's facing, it will activate the slide defense, which is like a shield. I cannot jump onto this enemy. I can kill it with the attacks like the dash or the dash. That's the air dash. That was the slide. I forgot. And I accidentally enabled the teleport the teleport thing. I need to update the bug features. Like, yeah, it's a cool enemy. I'm really satisfied with it. And this is the only enemy I actually have finished, I guess. And how this enemy works, I want to show the code. To begin with, I removed the enemy boss and projectile class, and instead I use composition. Sometimes I really think that I should have done that and actually just organized the class better, but I ended up trying to use composition now. So as you can see, we have the sprites, we have the direction, we have some states, we have some stuff in here, and for the enemy to work, you can see that there's those raycasts. Raycasts in game dev are those arrows that simply detect collision in a way easier and faster way. That's the way I can explain. And so we have the detectors updating position for some reason. Maybe I can disable this to be honest, because ain't this like already being set by the direction handler, which, yep, it's working. So this one I think I can remove it. That's just the old code before the rewriting. But anyway, actually, let's just uh, instead of deleting it, let's transform this into like commentaries, just so I can maybe re-enable it later. So the detect player function here will basically like detect the player. If any of the recasts are colliding, it will change the attack state, which will be the attack state. It will set the collisions. Where is the set the collisions being called in here? Let's see. Okay, when it changes to the attack state. So yeah. Here is for the movement. You can see I have this MVH, which stands for movement handler. And this movement handler is a node, a component from the composition. What it does, it is that it has the entity and it will apply any physics, any constant, any velocity physics related stuff. But not the, it does not count jumping or gravity. Those are another other component I use, which I call the jump gravity handler. What the movement handler does is only the movement and not the jumping or falling. The actual real world physics, I guess. That's confusing. I don't know how to explain. You can see here this they brought this wood handler. It's the wall detector handler. It basically checks for there's this one here, the destroy cast that uses for detecting walls. If it touches a wall, flips the direction, and if the direction flips, the sprite flip, every target flip from the every raycast target flip, basically that direction, and that's why I actually removed this because I think this is useless. It will actually just do some useless stuff. So yeah, move and slide, basic dot function basically applies the velocities, the physics. So another cool thing I did with the composition is that I actually learned the difference between a hurt box and a hitbox. What a hurt box do is that this is where the enemy will take damage from the player for the projectiles of the player, which I don't know why I say projectiles from the player since there's only one, the blob, right? And the hitbox is where the player will take hit from the enemy. The player will be hurt from the enemy. So yeah, now there's this node I made called the health handler, which basically has the health and the entity. The enemy has 1 health, and most of the enemies actually do the same thing when they reach 0 health. So when that happens, I have this another component called the default enemy 0 health, which basically will say, okay, let's delete the entity, let's apply a heat freeze effect, and let's add those particles in here. So yeah, enough explaining for this enemy. We can actually go to the bush enemy, which you can see it does not have a sprite yet. It has this placeholder pink thing from Godot, which is actually called the placeholder sprite here, placeholder texture 2D. So what does enemy do? Let me delete this and actually add here the bush. No, that's the projectile, never mind. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. I cannot find it here real quick. So let's just scout this. No, that's the projectile. Bro. Okay. Oh, okay, here. Wait, no, that's the bug enemy. Bro, what's happening with me today? Bush. Oh, done. Okay, please. Yes, okay. Let me set the direction to -1 so it's facing the player starting position. What does enemy do is that it will shoot this projectile every 2.5 seconds. And this projectile damages the player. So yeah, this enemy can be jumped on. This enemy can be killed with the attacks. The enemy is an enemy. And how does it work? So we have here the bush enemy. If I enter here the script, you can see it has the direction where the projectile will be shoot. Have the projectile seen here. We have the direction handler again to handle those direction related stuff. Something really cool I learned about Godot is that you can use the setters and getters to reference a variable from another script. In this case, from the direction handler script. And don't mind if I sometimes switch tabs real quick from OBS to Godot. Is that because it lags a bit, so I have to do this in order to make so Godot updates. So This enemy does not have the ready or the physics process function. The ready function is called when the scene starts. The physics process is called every frame, every 60, every 1 divided by 60 seconds, because like 60 frames. And unlike the process function, which is based on the current FPS of the game, the physics process is actually just constant to 60 FPS, so it does some weird math to make it work as if it was 60 FPS. It's really cool. So here we have this projectile, which sets the projectile as a node you can add. You can see that I add classes to the projectile even though there's no projectile class. I just do this so I can auto-complete stuff easily. I'm not a fan of duck typing, which duck typing is basically saying that if it has this, then it's actually this. If the duck typing comes from the expression, I think it's like if it looks like a duck and acts like a duck, it is a duck. And basically without duck typing, I will have to type the stuff manually and it would not actually autocomplete like this, like I just did with this direction. I hope you guys understand. So yeah, it sets the projectile to a node, it adds the node, sets the direction, and sets the global position of the projectile to the global position of the enemy. And there's this cooldown timeout, which is called from this timer in here, this 2.5 seconds timer. And when the signal is called, when the time is timeout, right, it finishes a loop, it spawns the projectile. So yeah, now here in the bush projectile you can see has the direction, has the movement handler, the direction handler, and it basically applies a constant fake horizontal movement. What is a constant fake horizontal movement? You can see there's the constant horizontal movement and the constant fake horizontal movement. The constant horizontal movement is used if the object has physics. It has the collision and it should move as physics. If it hits a wall, it stops. It's because it has physics stuff. But the fake horizontal movement makes so instead of changing the velocity property for the physics, it changes the position. The position. The position. And this, if the enemy has a collision, it actually makes the projectile bypass the collision, the tile, whatever is the wall, whatever was supposed to block him if it was using physics. And for that, the only difference that I multiply it by delta, which is the 1 by 60, and that's it. And and although I could actually use the velocity and do not use the add a collision here, I just added it because otherwise there would be like this warning sign and I don't like warning signs. So yeah. Yes, and as you can see from this enemy, the player actually can bounce on it, can kill it by jumping. You can see there's this bounce box position, which I took from this YouTuber called Game Endeavor. What it does is that this one actually uses a bit of duct taping, I guess, and for that to explain how it works, I need to go to the player. So let's go here, base player. You can see the player has a lot of those nodes in here, but what we're looking for is the bouncing handler, which is a scene, by the way. So let's just go here. We have those raycasts, and if any of those raycasts are colliding by those random prioritize those really long code, it will basically say, okay, emit the signal for bouncing and let the enemy let the bounce box handle what's supposed, and let the connected signal handle what's supposed to do. And that's it. Okay, I already recorded 15 minutes. Okay, guys, sorry for pausing here. My grandma just entered here my room to talk about dinner. So yeah, I will already need to stop recording this just so I can dinner actually order dinner for me because we're not going to have dinner. And I'm sorry if there's any background noise about about Dan talking. I'm really sorry about this. Oh my god, this thing is so loud. Oh my god, they're speaking so loud. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so yeah, I actually have to stop this right now. I don't think I have anything to showcase besides those two enemies. And that basically was the first part. If you guys really like this for some reason, you can leave any comments below about any questions you guys would like me to ask on future episodes of this. I I will try pick the best ones. So, well, see ya. Have a nice weekend.